Hello, my friends. How are you today? It is time for another Watch Me Weekly. I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing great. We were on a trip this last week, so we're getting back into the swing of things, and we were welcomed back with a blizzard of all things in the middle of spring, so that's kind of crazy. But I hope you're doing well. Today for Watch Me Weekly, we're going to actually be talking about turbulence. So on our trip, we took, my husband and I, we just took our oldest three and we went to upstate New York. And we flew there and we had a fantastic time. And then we flew to Chicago, had a layover, and then we flew home and to Utah. And, excuse me, and it was a lovely flight and everything was going well. And the captain kept warning, be careful, like everybody, I'm going to put seatbelt signs on because it's going to get rough. It's going to get bad. And he kept saying it over and over again. Like, I'm going to have the flight attendants get stuff early so everyone can just sit down because it's going to get bad. I thought, geez, it's a beautiful day outside. How bad can it really be? And then it happened, and it was some of the worst turbulence I have ever been on. My husband and my oldest son were about 5 rows in front of us. I was sitting next to the next son, and my poor daughter was sitting by herself a few rows behind us. And it was some pretty nasty turbulence, and it was shaking us back and forth really bad. So I've always laughed about the puke bags on the airplane, and until that day when I got it out because I sat there dry heaving because I was so nauseated from all the motion. The poor lady my daughter was sitting next to, luckily my daughter had a Pringles can of all things. Maybe they were out of puke bags on the back of their chairs. But she just started pointing to my daughter's Pringle can, so my daughter handed it to her and she then vomited all in the Pringles can. So that was super exciting. But as we were going through all this turbulence, there were some little kids on the plane. And these little kids were laughing and giggling, and they thought it was the funnest, most exciting thing on this planet. I was probably in the middle where I thought we might die. I felt really nauseated, but I knew we were going to be okay. The poor puker lady in the Pringles can next to my daughter, she was white knuckling the seat, was pretty sure they were going to die, kind of freaking out. So all sorts of different emotions. My son was next to me. He was kind of laughing at me at first, and then he saw my face go pale and he didn't think it was so funny anymore. My husband and my other son, they were fine. So everybody had a different feeling about this turbulence. The little kids are laughing and thinking it's funny. Some people don't really care. Some people are about to vomit. Some people are really vomiting. So a whole different set of emotions going on there. So I learned 2 things from this. The first one is a reminder of our perception becomes our reality. We were all going through the exact same thing on the plane. I don't know how many people are on the plane. I'm just going to guess around 80 people. So 80 people on this plane. Some people don't care. Some people are a little nervous, but they're going to make through it. Some people are convinced they're going to die. So just like life, our perception, what we're going through, we make it our reality by what we think about it. So if I had to kind of tell myself and walk through it like we're gonna be okay, the pilot knows what he's doing, he's done this a million times before, and it's gonna be all right. Some people didn't even need to do that because they just knew they were going to be all right, and so they were enjoying themselves. Like, this is so fun, we're having such a good time. And it was quite comical to listen to these little kids sit and giggle and laugh as other people are sure we're plummeting to our death. So our perception becomes our reality. Whatever you think about the situation, you make it become truth. Now, it's not truth. The truth is we were on an airplane that was in turbulence. Then what we are thinking about it was making it our truth. So any situation you go through in life, it follows the exact same philosophy. So your real truth might be that you're married. And then your thoughts about it create a new truth that may be false. Does that make sense? So if your truth is that I have a husband, I'm married, and then your thought is, oh, I think he's great, I think he's wonderful, then it's going to create this truth, this new reality that you've created, that my marriage is fantastic and we're really happy. Or if you're going to say, okay, my truth is I'm married, I have a husband, but you're thinking about him is he's terrible, he's lazy, he does all these things, then the reality that you are going to create is going to be that you think your marriage stinks, that your husband's not very attentive to you, and whatever it is. And so the first thing I learned is our perception, I guess not learned, but kind of confirmed to me that our perception becomes our reality. And the second thing is things always work out. Now, they may not work out the way you think they will, but they always work out. We landed that plane and we were just fine. Now, I was super nauseous the whole ride home. And luckily, we have a garbage can in the car because I sat and dry heaved the whole way home. Sorry for that lovely image. It was fine. And I slept it off and I was fine the next morning. And I've been okay. And I've gone on through my life. I feel bad calling her the puking Pringle lady. I don't know her name. But she's gone on with her life. Little kids who thought it was the funnest roller coaster ride ever, they've gone on with their life. So no matter what hard things we go through, things always work out. There's always a tomorrow. Thanks, Annie, for that line, right? The sun will come out tomorrow. But it's real. Like, there's always, things are never as bad as we think they're going to be. That's kind of that feeling part of your brain needs to talk to the thinking part of your brain. And that's kind of the being able to calm down and see it clearly, so that when you create when your perception creates your reality, you make sure it's a reality that you want to be living in, that gives you happiness, gives you peace, and gives you joy. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this week's Watch Me Weekly, and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week.